Hey there, Headspace buddies. Welcome to Headspace Diaries, a podcast where we dive into the depths of mental health. Join us as we explore personal journeys and unravel insights that will hopefully illuminate the path to well being. Whether you are seeking solace or simply in need of connection, we aim to foster awareness and show our support in the realm of mental health. I am Chloe, your Headspace buddy for today's episode. For our very first episode, let us all welcome Lyneth Viernes, an incoming fourth year nursing student and a mental health advocate, who will be sharing her personal experiences and insights on overcoming self doubt, building confidence in youth. Hi, Lynn!
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, how are you feeling today, Lynn?
I feel good.
That's really good to hear. So, how does it feel like to be here today joining our podcast?
I take this as an accomplishment to be here to finally speak out and, share my experience and as also in a way to help people who are dealing with this similar crisis in themselves.
I'd like to thank you so much for your time and for being here with us, Lynn. We truly appreciate your presence here with us in Headspace Diaries. Now, moving forward, I'd like to ask, as a fellow nursing student myself, how is summer going so far?
I feel good. Like, okay, that's the second time I said feel good, but I definitely feel good because it's the only time that we had 2 months rest at least before school starts again as a fourth year.
Yes, that is definitely right. We really deserve this after 3 years of nursing with little to no breaks in between because of summer classes. So it actually feels really nice that we get to have this time for ourselves, right? Okay, so enough of the yapping. Without further ado, let's begin with our questions. So, for our very first question, can you share your personal experience when you struggled with self doubt? And did your self doubt ever contribute to feelings of anxiety or depression? And how did you overcome this?
Okay, so for the first question, I had a lot of instances with self doubt, like self doubt moments that really led to bad or not so good endings. And whenever I have these moments of self doubt, it really depends on the circumstances, whether it is about whether I am being tormented by my looks, my physical appearance, questioned by my career path, or even myself questioning my own career path right now, and even in the capability of making decisions for myself. So that is how severe my self doubt has become. And when it comes to looks, let's start with the first factor. It's all about, how I'm gonna look, or how am I gonna look at the pictures, or I don't look good in this dress, I look horrible, I look hideous, and every self degradation on the basis of look. And when these moments happen, definitely I'm not confident with my own skin. And even when I was receiving compliments from my friends, peers, mutuals, it did not really help because at that time I was so into believing that I'm not good enough, or I do not look good. And actually we also have similar conversation with my friend about this, and we eventually found out where these self-doubt came from. And actually the reason why I degrade myself so bad is because of my upbringing and of how I was raised in our household and how I was treated as a young kid. Now, I will not go into the depth of how I was treated. It's very personal, but given with the things that I just said a while ago, you have an idea of how it was like dealing with self-body image at such a young kid or young age. So yeah, at first my self-doubt was more into my appearance of how I look. But then as I got into high school and college, it became a combination with doubts of how capable I am as a person. Such thoughts like, will I pass my course? I will fail. Will I fail? I will not succeed. And it's like that kind of thoughts. And it came to the point of introjecting these negativity and slowly becoming one. Now, constantly thinking about the negative things became a habit. Like every time, like it's so severe, chronic, as what my friends would say, because it has somehow become a part of my lifestyle, and it's so wrong. Because of these feelings, it it has been sorry, it has been registered in my body, in my brain, the feelings of inferiority. Now, eventually, these thoughts led me to have, severe anxiety, and unfortunately led me to depression. And not to mention, it was really worse back then in pandemic days. And even my own close aunt mentioned that I have very low self esteem. Now, for the question of how did I overcome it, I wouldn't say I have completely overcome it, but as a young adult, 21, and I'm slowly learning to rebuild and understand the importance of self confidence. And one of the things I have realized is that we become how we are treated. With that saying, if you really want to build confidence and restore self esteem, you should understand where you are coming from, your childhood, your elementary days, everything from the past as a young kid, because that's where mostly self conflict roots from. And when you're brave enough to face that, to accept that past as a part of your life, that you will get to know more about yourself and eventually know what are the things that needs to be fixed or solve, coming to terms with yourself, and eventually build confidence that discover what you are good at, what you may be good at, what you need to improve at. So I guess that's also a step of building confidence back. So that is an on a take from my personal experience.
All right, so thank you so much for that, Lynn. I actually relate to that as well, since I also have my moments of self doubt in which I would question my worth and my capabilities and even underestimate myself. Now, similar with what you've mentioned, being insecure about my physical appearance is also a problem for me, mainly because of social media influence and standards in our society. And for me, there are really a lot of factors that contribute to the way we perceive ourselves, may it be from our family, friends, school environment, and academics, and a lot more. And one of the main reasons for my self doubt recently is the aspect of my academic performance in college, because let me tell you, college really humbles you a lot. And there are times wherein I question myself, am I enough? Why is it that no matter how hard I try my best, I don't succeed? And there are just a lot of questions, uncertainties, and failures that will really bring you down. But fortunately, I am slowly replacing these negative thoughts into positive ones, and I'm really happy to say that I am in the process of building more self confidence for myself, and I have grown as well a lot as a person because of the people around me. All right, so thank you so much again for sharing your personal experience with us, Lynn. And I'd like to commend you for coming this far and for trying to overcome this. Now, since we already talked about self doubt, if I may ask, what was a pivotal moment in your life when you realized you needed to build more self confidence?
Actually, Chloe, when I realized that I need to build my self confidence more was when I, entered college, like first year. And during our first year was the hit of pandemic. Like literally, it was really bad for us in terms of having our online class. And don't forget the isolation. So that contributed a lot too. And now we're back in the face to face setting in our mode of education. I started to realize and observe that my peers, my like people in my age are it's so easy for them to make decision for themselves, Like they have their own backbone, and that's something that I have noticed that I don't have that because again of my upbringing, that I was not built on. I didn't grow up in a household where I didn't get to decide for myself because everything is controlled. It's a traditional Filipino parenting. That's also a factor of the self-doubt thing. And that's it's all about, comparing myself from others, from my peers, of, they are capable of doing this, doing that. And then later on, having the time for myself when I get like being back home from school, then I realized later on that they are capable of making decision for themselves, even the easiest one. Why am I even struggling with it? And that's there I realized that, oh, that's something that I should work on. And it all solves on confidence.
I definitely agree with you as well, Lynn. I realize that it's very important to have a positive support system and, surrounding ourselves as well with people who will bring out the best in us and help us reach our fullest potential compared to surrounding ourselves with people filled with negative and bad vibes. Especially those who are overly competitive and toxic who can really bring us down. And similar to you, I am also still in the process of building more self confidence because I still have a tendency to compare myself with other people in different aspects of my life. And I also realize that achieving self confidence is a personal journey, so we should do it at our own pace. All right, so since we have already shared our realizations, maybe you can share some strategies or coping mechanisms that helped you manage your anxiety or depression linked to self doubt.
Okay, so when it comes to strategies or coping mechanisms, I have one specifically, and I'm gonna give a basic background: K-pop. Okay, so when I was around elementary to high school days, yeah, around those days, before I loved to draw, play music, and dance. And that was the time where I had enough time to do these things, invest in my talents. And these were the things that I knew that I was good at, precisely on art. But then as I entered college, especially in a hectic course, I rarely got to go or got to do these things, and little by little realizing it that I'm slowly getting tired of doing this. And it's really sad because I'm really attached to doing art. And during those times when I was young, I really defined myself as someone who is very artistic, who's meant for art like that. But then because of my choices, such as when I got into college, because of time also, it has hindered me to do these things. And with that, it became a factor of my depression as well. And yeah, it things got worse there. But then I'm gonna share a short experience as a student nurse. So there was a time where I was so down and almost like out of life. And as exaggerated it can be during those days, everything was great. And I kept crying, but I still managed to get in class. But I still have those episodes of brain fog until one day I didn't do so good with my clinical duty and felt so much disappointed in myself. Plus, the environment in our clinicals was really harsh. And I would say the only thing that brightened me up that day was to listen to cheerful songs that contain messages about, you did enough, you did great job today, you did your best, you are enough. And these were the type of songs I listened whenever I feel these strong emotions. And specifically, I would like to thank 17. Funny as it sounds, yes, K-pop does help to some people, but I guess we all have to look for an outlet that could like lift ourselves up instead of just focusing on the negative things that are luring in our minds. So that's all I got to say with my coping mechanism.
Girl, I also had my K-pop phase way back before the pandemic, and it was such an unforgettable memory and phase in my life. Anyway, it is really important to engage in hobbies that we like doing, especially whenever we feel down. So for me, I enjoy watching movies, K-dramas, series, TikToks, and vlogs, and I'm also into self-help books lately, such as The Mountain Is You, Transforming Self-Sabotage into Self-Mastery, and 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think. So both these books are by Brianna West, and I also enjoyed reading The Atomic Habits by James Clear. So these books are very inspirational and it really motivates me to become a better version of myself. In college, One of my main coping mechanisms is to spend quality time with my friends, family, and loved ones despite my busy schedule because these people keep me sane. Like for real. And I also observed that, recently running has been a thing lately. I see everyone running on Instagram. I mean, running in real life, okay? But like they've been posting on Instagram, Facebook, and Strava, and like anywhere else, or they're going to the gym or doing physical activities in general. And it's a really good sight to see that people are motivating others to do the same. And this can actually be a good coping mechanism as well whenever we feel down. Okay, so I hope that our Headspace buddies here who are listening right now also learned a few of the coping mechanisms they can do themselves. And now, moving forward for our very last question, Lynn, so what advice would you give to other people who are currently struggling with self doubt and looking for ways to build their confidence?
Now, I know it's not easy. This will never be easy, but it's all about the battle within ourselves and it's all in our head. And whatever upbringings we have or we have experienced from the past, it's already in the past. There's nothing we can do about it except learn from it to become strong from it. And I hope whenever you look back at on that, you're not there to blame yourself all over again, but instead to appreciate of how you are the person you are today, how you have reached this point of life, and that's already an achievement to acknowledge, and that you should acknowledge as well. You were able to overcome such difficulties, and yet here you are still living, striving, and not giving up. So know how capable you are to become the best version of yourself. And realistically, these thoughts are always somewhere luring in our head, and when that comes, think of the possibilities of what you are going to be. Try to motivate yourself. Be surrounded by people who really pushes or help you to become better. But keep in mind, you yourself is the number one supporter. Your younger self will be so happy to see you reach far and achieve your dreams, and talk about healing your inner child. So I guess this is a change of mindset, but don't rush it. Confidence isn't completely built overnight, and always do your best. You only get to live once, so live the life fullest.
That was amazing, Lynn. I love your advice, and for sure, together with our Headspace buddies, will keep that in mind. In addition to that, I'd also like to remind everyone that whenever you feel self doubt, it's important to identify the reason why, because awareness is the first step in overcoming this. And we should also replace negativity with positivity and focus on our strengths amidst our weaknesses and struggles. In terms of failures, we cannot avoid failures. So we should learn from it instead and view failures as opportunities instead to learn and grow, since I myself also have my fair share of failures in life. And we also have to keep in mind that everyone makes mistakes and they do not define your worth. Lastly, treat yourself with kindness and understanding and avoid harsh self criticism. Be gentle with yourself because we are all working towards making ourselves better. So I guess that is it on my end. Do you have any other things to add, Lynn?
Yeah, first of all, I agree with whatever you said, Chloe. Now, no one wants to feel miserable of themselves, of their own skin, of their own kind, or whatever you may be. So don't blame or sabotage yourself. And most importantly, as what Chloe mentioned, don't over criticize yourself to the point you are torturing your own mind and believing that you can't do it, that you cannot be the best, that you'll not reach your goals. Instead, again, change the mindset by start believing in yourself that you are capable of becoming the best version of yourself. You deserve the love and appreciation. You're worthy and have a purpose in this world. So life is already hard. So don't be too harsh on yourself and just be kind to yourself and to people too.
All right, I guess that ends our very first podcast episode. Once again, thank you so much, Lynn, for sharing your experiences and advice. I learned a lot, and I hope our fellow Headspace buddies learned from it too. Once again, I am Chloe, your Headspace buddy, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Headspace Diaries. We want you all to remember that each mental health journey is unique, but together we can foster empathy and growth. Don't forget to follow and subscribe our YouTube channel for more insightful conversations. Don't forget to take care of your mind and keep writing your own Headspace diaries. Until next time, bye!